Hi, I'm Ishar. This is Ishar Games, and I made a couple YouTube videos. I am just starting out as a YouTube creator. I've kind of learned a lot in even just the first couple of videos between the audio recording, video recording, kind of putting it all together. So I wanted to make a separate video and put it in a little playlist around recording my journey, my lessons learned, struggles I'm having, things I've picked up on, tips, tricks, anything like that, that I can offer up and document both for myself for future review, also for anyone else who might be thinking of starting their own channel or thinking of picking up a YouTube channel, learning how to do content creation, anything like that. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and the like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more of these kind of videos or watch any of my gameplay videos. And please, would love to hear from you. So drop a comment down below, especially if you got some tips you can offer me, any tricks that you learned in your own journey, anything. Would love to hear it. So this video specifically, we're going to break it up into 3 sections. The first section is going to be around the audio, just everything in your ears. Then the second video is going to be around the video and how to capture it, little things I learned. And then lastly, tying it all together into sort of the content creation, editing, that side of things. So the actual production. I have a couple of good lessons, some things that I'm still trying to work out that I haven't solved, and some other things that I did manage to solve between my first 2 videos. So stick around, watch the video, and hopefully you'll find it informative. So the first lessons we're going to talk about today that I've learned are based around the sound, the audio, the recording. I believe that the audio is probably the most important part of a YouTube video. I think there's more forgiveness around lesser quality, lesser produced video side of things than there is around the audio side of things. I think you tune into a YouTube video and it's got some real bad audio, background noise, artifacts from recording, different poor sound. I think it just turns people off right away and they just want to go to something more pleasing to the ear. So with that, I'm going to go through a number of lessons that I learned, some of the solutions that I have implemented to try and improve things, and let's get right into it. The first of the audio lessons that I want to talk about is I noticed it right away as soon as I started listening back to my recording. There is this hum. As soon as I started speaking, the microphone started this hum, which would kind of fade away as I stopped talking, which I don't know what it was picking up, whether it was my computer fan, like the vibration. I don't know. There were a few things that I changed that I thought may have been indicative of the problem, and I think I've fixed it for now. One of the things I did is I adjusted the gate on Voicemeeter, which I run all my audio through. I adjusted the gate up to 4.0. That seems to have helped in a big way. I kind of rearranged my desk a little bit, but my desk microphone clamp for the arm is still really close to the computer, so I doubt that did anything. I did find all the elastics on the shock absorber mount for the microphone were all like busted, so I replaced those with some elastics I pilfered from my daughter's like bracelet making kit thing. They seem to be doing a good job keeping it nice and suspended loosely. So I think, I also moved the microphone a little closer to me, which is something we'll get to, so I could keep the gain kind of lower on the microphone output, meaning I'm not going to amplify all those background noises along with my voice. Having it closer, it's going to pick up better volume. So that does lead us into lesson number 2. So lesson number 2 is the microphone position. Previously I had it about a foot away from my mouth. It was kind of in front of me to my right a bit, but it was kind of away from me. That was helpful especially when I was playing with my daughter, because she's a squirmer, as you saw. So she was moving around a lot, and so I had to keep the microphone somewhat far away. Even then, she was still kind of moving in front or behind the microphone. And so there were times where it didn't even pick her voice up at all. Words were missed, even when I was playing by myself, because of how far away it was, because of all the settings I had and everything. it was dropping the odd word. It wasn't picking it up. I think at one point, even when I was, you know, signing off or whatever, I said, thanks for watching. But all the microphone picked up was for watching. The thanks didn't come through. So there's another part to this lesson as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. But moving the microphone closer, I think, will help a lot with the audio quality. It's going to pick my voice up better. I'm not going to amplify any background noise and that kind of thing. So bringing it nice and closer, you can see it here in the camera. Shadow kind of hides it, but microphone's nice and close. I think that's gonna improve things a lot. Yes, the can opening. My daughter and I had a good laugh about that one, even in our video. Yeah, I learned that one right away. I thought while I was recording, I could totally just open this can. It's way over here. It's away from the microphone. You know, it's gonna be, even if it picks it up, it'll be so quiet. Like, not a big deal. Yeah. Super obvious, very annoying. So easy lesson to learn. Don't be opening drinks like that on camera. It was super obnoxious. So easy one to learn, easy one to fix. Hopefully I don't make that one again. So this audio issue was definitely a minor one for me. Given that this is like a gaming channel sort of thing, like gameplay is sort of the main purpose for the videos I'm going to create. I'm not super worried about keyboard clicks and mouse clicks and whatnot. I didn't find them super loud. I didn't find them terribly detracting from the game, from the video, from my voice, from the game, whatever. So I'm not super concerned with it. I'm not gonna go chasing it and try and perfect it and make it ultra silent. I did put the audio gate on Voice Meter Banana here to 4.0. I think that takes away most of the keyboard clicks. Like if I open up Microsoft Calculator here and I just start typing in a bit, I don't know how audible this is. We'll find out in post. I think when I was testing it, it took out quite a bit of it, but we'll see. Overall, I'm not too concerned about it. Again, it's a gaming channel, so if you can hear some keyboard clicking, so be it. As long as it's not super obnoxious, I'm not too worried about it. Well, as you just heard, the keyboard clicks still come through. My point still stands. I'm not super concerned with it. It was pretty subdued to me. Yes, you could hear I'm typing on a keyboard, but you could easily hear my voice over it. Wasn't super sharp or anything like that, so not going to change it. I think it's just fine for a gaming channel, so no problem by me. So this was a big one for me to learn, and I'm here trying to be very conscious and work to improve it. My initial video, especially the one by myself, I spoke with pretty low energy, kind of deep in my chest, as I tend to do in real life. I didn't do any sort of editing or acting or anything like that. I just sort of started recording, just was myself. So energy was low, tempo was low, my voice was very low in my chest. I was speaking very low, and that's what I do when I'm explaining things to people or I'm kind of talking to myself or whatever. It's something a lot of people do, is they lower their voice really low. And especially when I have my microphone kind of far away from me, it did not pick up my voice very well at all, especially when I was speaking quietly, when I was sort of mumbling, like I would make a little joke to myself or whatever. It was a little better when it was on my daughter's game. You know, we were kind of laughing back and forth and speaking with different energy, but definitely when I'm playing the game by myself, I need to make sure that I'm speaking clearly and putting some effort into my voice to make sure that it's coming through, because there were certainly a lot of parts in the first video where it was very dull, very dry. So got to try and spruce that up a little bit, I think. So that's something just for me to work on. Nothing to do with like the software or anything, I don't think. It's just had to do, I mean, some audio processing may help that with a little bit of compression to help raise when I'm too quiet and bring down when I'm too loud or whatever. But I think largely it just has to do with my effort and working to improve that aspect of just straight up delivery. So something for me to work on for sure. Of course, you got to save the best for last. And I honestly, I couldn't even believe this happened. I was halfway through listening back to my recording, and I heard me, make that joke. I think I copied one of the customers where they were like, "Oh, that's exactly what I wanted." Or there was another part where I made a comment about how absolutely loud the trash compactor is. And that's when it hit me. I couldn't hear any of it. I did not have my settings correct in OBS. I had the wrong audio input selected for the game sounds. So I caught my mic, did not pick up an ounce of game sound. So I scrounged Pixabay for music to add in the background because I needed something. It was bad. I couldn't believe it. First video, and I straight up just didn't even record the gameplay. So big lesson here: do a sound check, make sure I figure out my settings, and make sure to test a small chunk of something, and then run it through Remux the recording and open up the MP4 and just make sure the game sounds there. So yeah, that was a huge blunder. I had a good laugh about that one, and my daughter and I talked about it during our little playthrough. So yeah, couldn't believe it. Didn't even record the sound. So do a sound check. So now that we're done talking about the many mistakes I made with my audio, and I'm sure I'm continuing to make and will continue to improve upon, the next step is the video recording, the gameplay recording, the webcam, and all the little things I noticed when I was watching back my video and editing it and everything else. Some things I wish I had done differently. So let's hop into these lessons. These ones are all about the video. So the first one I noticed when I was watching back was the lighting on the webcam. The lighting was, I just used one light. I had my sort of face light. It sits on my monitor. It's just like an LED thing. I can change the color, temperature, and brightness and all that kind of thing. So I had it pretty cool temperature. I had it pretty bright, and it was the only light in the room. And I think that just led to me being super washed out. And especially when my daughter was playing with me, the way she would lean forward and get really close to the light, then it just became this like ghost on the screen kind of thing. So not that you could really see it because I blur her out for safety anyway, but it was still there. It was still pretty bright. So I watched a YouTube video, tried to get some tips on how to better light my video, I guess, my recording. So now for this one, I've kind of like turned all the lights on in the room, which now you can see, my daughter's puzzle pieces over here and like the entertainment unit with the huge HDMI cord, like whatever. Until I have some semblance of a studio, I'm really not going to worry too much about it. I'm just going to try and make sure that the recording is as clean as it can be. I think this is still a little high on light. I'm struggling to find a good balance. I think maybe my webcam might be part of it, but all things to just continue to explore and try and figure out kind of the best settings for me. But so far, this is what I've got. All the overhead lights are on. I got a light over here. When the room is kind of darker, I've got some sort of spotlight sort of thing on a track light up here that'll turn on and change the lighting a little bit. But overall, kind of minor. I think this is an improvement as it is. So overall, lesson learned. So lesson number 2 was unfortunately a lesson I didn't have to learn the hard way. Before I started any recording, before I started even thinking about truly doing some YouTube stuff, I had watched a number of videos. There's a lot of great creators out there creating content about creating content. So one of them had talked about a tip about when you do your recording in OBS, you have like this ultra wide layout with the webcam on one side and the game on the other side. And that way, when you're editing in like DaVinci Pro or DaVinci Resolve or what have you, you can kind of have two separate streams for the webcam and the game. So you can resize your webcam, you can move it from bottom left to top right, you can zoom in, zoom, like you can do things with it. Whereas if you do it the way I did it, which was just sort of the webcam overlaid directly in the window above the game, can't really change it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's there, and you can't resize it without just overriding some other things in the screen. You can't like move it to another location without like a black box being in the bottom corner, you know? So it just limits your options. So that was something that I should have implemented right away, and I didn't. I got a little confused with all the settings and all the different things I had to change and everything else. The walkthrough was fantastic, but it was my first video. I had enough going on, and so I kind of thought, like, I'm not going to sit here and let perfection be the enemy of good. So I just started. I put the webcam in the easy way, the way I knew how, and then just got started. So future videos should have the ability for me to move the webcam and things, and I look forward to playing with it and trying to edit videos in that way. So that was a pretty key one for this kind of video. So another piece that I think would improve my like video quality in general, like at least for the webcam window, would be a simple backdrop. You know, get rid of the sight, get rid of this stuff from sight, get rid of like all this stuff that's kind of distracting in the background. There's another tip which I'm going to get to next, which also helps with that. But I think just putting a backdrop behind me would help a lot. Not super easy for me to do right now. The way I have this set up, this is just in my basement, as you can see. Actually, my wife's PC sits next to mine, and we game together after the kid goes to bed, you know, and that's how we hang out. And so just, you know, hanging a blanket or something isn't really feasible. I may consider someday doing some sort of like portable 2x4 frame or something with maybe like a white blanket hung between it and some colorful LEDs behind it. Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not that serious about it right now. I'm just checking it out and seeing what I can do. I do think that would help with the webcam. That, or you could even do like a green screen, right? Hang a green sheet or something and then put some other image behind me while I'm doing it. Don't know. That'll be something to sort out for another day, but for now, I'm just going to make sure the floor is clean, and then this next tip will actually, I think, really help with kind of focusing the attention on the webcam in a much bigger way. So with that, this lesson's learned. Let's talk about the next one. Crop the camera. That was one that I realized afterwards. I thought, like, why am I showing so much of my dirty room behind me when, like, that's not what I'm trying to show the audience. I'm just realistically, the only reason I'm even there is just to put a face to the voice. Something I tend to appreciate when people do that on their gaming videos, when they show their face, show their reactions, you know, that kind of thing. I do like that. So I wanted to do that, but why show so much other stuff, you know? So I thought, just crop the webcam window, just crop it. Basically it's like shoulder width. I'm clearly not very centered on my camera right now, which I'll probably fix for the next shot, but just narrow it, kind of get rid of the clutter. And then, you know, the backdrop I talked about, yeah, it'll still help, but I think just by cropping the webcam window, it does pretty big things for improving the webcam footage and focusing the attention. So that was one I sort of figured out for myself after the fact. Trying to blur my daughter's face was a challenge. I was using DaVinci Resolve 19, watched a number of YouTube videos to help me figure out how to do it. And I did find some good walkthroughs, some really cool stuff that you can do, and it helped me understand other things you could do, which, you know, the little arrow during the replay is using some of the similar stuff, where it's like tracking something. And anyway, so I tried to use this auto tracking blur tool in the color, I don't know, tool kit, whatever you call it in Resolve. But because she was so mobile, and she would look left, she'd look right, she'd look up, she was looking all around, and she was leaning forward, she was coming out of frame and then coming back. The auto tracking was not having it. It was not happy. And I found I probably just didn't know how to work it. Like, and how would I? so I'm sure there's still a lot to learn in that regard, but I was trying to adjust the little shape that sort of tracks her and get it back on track and reshape it and all this stuff. But it's like a 3D, so this disc would like even twist in relation, and it was very difficult to try and sort out in a meaningful way. So what I ended up doing, it was cool. I enjoyed learning it. I enjoyed sort of diving into that aspect and learning some of the capabilities of DaVinci Resolve, but eventually I just said, forget this. This is taking way too much time, and I just blurred out the whole bottom half of the screen or whatever. So I did the trick. I think next time if I had to do it, I'd probably just blur the bottom half again and just call it a day. Because unless I could really get her to sit still and really get her to sort of stay in frame and stuff, which, like, good luck trying to get a 5.5-year-old who's playing a video game to like sit still, and why should we? You know, it's more fun when she's moving around, she's engaged and having fun. So yeah, I think next time I'm just gonna blur the bottom half and forget about the motion tracking. But it was a pretty nifty feature that I think I took advantage of later in the video anyway. So that was something that I picked up, and no real lesson, just a struggle. A struggle that I had. So speaking of blurring things, one thing I found when I was watching my footage back is that my game was really blurry. I think I have a lot to learn regarding OBS settings and stuff, because even as I was doing some testing for this video, I was even struggling with, like, my webcam isn't super clear. That's what, like, when it's blown up on a full size or whatever, it's just not very clear. So I think there are some OBS settings I have to dive into and try and figure out, as far as the video settings, the encoder settings, the recording, and all this. There's a lot of helpful stuff on YouTube, people offering up what they know, which, you know, I'll dive into more and continue to try and improve upon. You know what? Why don't I show you the settings that I'm using, and I can talk about maybe the settings that I had the first time. So I'm recording this a couple of days later as I'm working through editing my video and realizing I don't super love the original take I did on this part. So I apologize for the change in background and shirt and whatnot. But hopefully we'll just be able to focus on the OBS settings here. So let's get into that. The gameplay videos that I did, I had the resolution set to 1920 by 1080, just standard 1080p. You're seeing 3000 by 1080 now because of the previous lesson we talked about, where we're going to record the webcam beside the recording the gameplay or what have you, which you could see when I first opened this up, right? I'm on the left and OBS on the right. That's why. So change that now. That's my resolution currently. You also probably noticed I cropped the webcam directly in my recording rather than after. Just, I don't know how I'm doing it, so we'll find out if that's the right way or the wrong way. Under the recording settings, I use the MKV recording format. Apparently that really helps if your computer crashes or something. You still have a usable format, whereas if you record directly into MP4, the whole file's corrupt and you have to do everything over again. So I don't know, why not use it? Video encoder is the AVC encoder. I have an AMD graphics card, so that's why you're seeing that name. And a few other settings are different than what most probably see using an NVIDIA graphics card. As I find out watching every YouTube video, none of their options look like my options, but anyway, so that's what I'm using for the encoder. And then for my original two videos, my rate control, I used CBR, which is a constant bit rate. I believe I had the bit rate set to something like 9,000 maybe. which I think is pretty low. I wasn't sure if my computer could handle all of this. It didn't seem to struggle at all. So in the future, I want to improve the quality. So what I've done is I've done this CQP, which is reportedly kind of like a variable bit rate that adjusts the bit rate based on what's happening on the screen. So if everything's pretty stable, like what is happening right now, the bit rate's lower, saving on like file size and stuff. And then when the motion's higher, then it'll increase the bit rate. From what I've heard, a range of 15 to 20 is decent, and the lower the number, the better. So I've set it to 15 now, and we'll, this is something I'll just keep playing with. I also watched another video of another creator who I'll put a card on screen here now to click on, but he talked about some of the top 5, OBS plugins for 2024 or whatever. So I was kind of looking at that. One of them sounded really interesting, where it focuses the attention of OBS on a specific area that you get to specify. You get to kind of prioritize where should OBS put its resources and make sure it's the best quality, and where should it deprioritize when it needs to. So the example they were using in the video was like a first-person shooter game, having the resources prioritized in the center of the screen and lower priority as you go outside. It seemed very handy. I'm gonna probably look into that in the future, because it sounds like it would improve some things. I think overall that's something to check into, but throwing plugins into the mix when you're just new to software and everything can be problematic. Plugins might not work. You got to keep it up to date. More settings to try and explore. How do those settings interact with the standard OBS settings and everything else? So it kind of increases the complexity of things, but overall I think it might be something to look into. So I've posted a card to like a link to that video, yeah, so click through that if you want to see what I might explore in the future. But otherwise, these were my OBS settings. So this lesson is a bit of a bonus lesson. It was something I learned while recording this video. I went through and I did, I think, all of my audio lessons as well as some video lessons. I recorded it. I did a sound check, learning from my previous lessons. I opened it up in VLC player, everything playing back fine. I had tweaked a few settings in my OBS to try and improve the quality of things. But as soon as I dropped those videos into DaVinci Resolve, no video found. The video file would come in, the audio would work, but the video would not work. And I got the dreaded red screen with the exclamation mark or whatever. So I had to try and troubleshoot that and figure out what was going on. And it turned out I had selected a codec encoder that wasn't good for my computer or didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work, but I know it didn't work. So I originally had set my encoder setting to the HEVC encoder. I have an AMD graphic card, so it's a different name than what most people are seeing, but it's the HEVC one. I put it back to the AVC, recorded again, brought it into DaVinci, and everything seemed to work well. So a bit of a bonus lesson there. I guess even right down to which codec you use may or may not work with the other software that you're using. So make sure you check it all out, do a small test, check your sound, check your video, pull it into whatever software you're using, and make sure it's going to work with all of it. So otherwise, you are going to do what I did and have to retake a bunch of recordings simply to put it in the right codec, right format, whatever the case is for you. So little bonus for you. So we've talked about the audio, we've talked about the video. So now I want to talk about a few things I learned about just making the video, the process to go from nothing to like a YouTube video, some little things that I learned. I don't have a ton here. Generally, I don't know what I messed up yet. I think in this regard, but I got a video up. For me, that was a win. I think overall, you know, as far as editing and everything else goes in the videos, I'm really happy with what I did, with what I put up. You know, I did some cool editing. I had like a little intro. I added some music. I did like a replay thing with my daughter. I feel good about it. I don't really, you know, care how many views it gets or what have you. For me, the success was creating it and getting it up on YouTube, getting it working. And so I think I did that. That said, I still did learn some things through the process that I wanted to touch on and share in this video. So the first one, a little bit of planning. I did none. I knew generally I wanted to do that grocery store simulator game because it's very neutral, not fast paced, not a ton of like crucial audio I needed to worry about. So it was a great testing ground, and I might, you know, do a couple more on that game just to get it going. I might start a new game and see what it's like to do like a series where it's you know, the videos progress along with my game. Might still do that. But I planned nothing. So I didn't have any sort of outline of what I wanted to accomplish. I literally went in there with the goal of accomplishing like a 20-minute, half-hour video. So I mean, I guess I succeeded. But I noticed when I was looking back, you know, I was very scattered with what I was sort of talking about. I, you know, it's a store, right? So probably start off, give a tour of the store, show where things are, what's my mindset, what's my logic, or whatever. Didn't do that. I realized that partway through the video, I didn't do that. So then I started and got about halfway through it and got distracted on some topic I talked about, and I moved on. So having an outline, I think, would be helpful. I don't think that I'm the type of person who would like to script my videos. Like, I didn't script this whole video. I did a bit of an outline. I just sort of, here are the order of topics I want to talk about, and then I'm just talking. Are my clips perfect? No. You know, am I doing a million takes to get this exact one? No. I'm doing one, sometimes two. There's a few where I've done a few because I trip up on my words really bad or something, but no, for the most part, they're all just sort of honest takes, and that's the way I foresee creating my videos, is just sort of honest, transparent, you know, uncurated kind of thing. But an outline, I think, would be great. Remembering to like introduce myself. You know, like I didn't even say like, hey, I'm Ishar, you know, I'm nudie. Like I didn't do anything. I just sort of started playing like a total cold start. So, you know, maybe there are videos where that works, but I think for me, especially right now, I think I need to make sure I do certain things. So bit of an outline, very important in my opinion. So on the same sort of topic of having an outline and having sort of key beats I want to hit, I think I realized that like an introduction, not just my little 5-second graphic or whatever with my text and stuff, but me saying, you know, hi, welcome to Ishar Games. You know, this is Ishar and I'm playing Grocery Store Simulator today. Why don't you join? Like whatever, you know, it comes out to be. I realize that there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch. Some have a bit of a script where they sort of say the same thing every time as an intro, and I find when I'm a listener, a consumer of their content, that is a good thing. I like that. I always know that's coming. It just is sort of a comfort thing. And then there are others that they don't, but they'll have sort of like like a TV show, right? They always have their intro. They always have their little sting where some sort of audio that's always the same, that sort of pinpoints this is what you're watching. So I think that's important. Same as on the end, you know, just a way to sign off the video in a sort of consistent manner, I think would be good. And I think that'll come naturally. I'll try and come up with something, you know, maybe not for this video, but I'll try to come up with something in future videos. But I do think that's probably something to develop naturally, and once you get it, stick with it as much as you can. I think that goes a long way to making the video feel a little more professional. So that was something I noticed in my own video. So the last topic I wanted to talk about when it comes to the actual process of creating content is that I think I need to take the audio out of the video. So export it from DaVinci, bring it into something like Audacity, where I can play with the levels a little bit. I mean, as far as I know, maybe DaVinci can do it too. I'm struggling to figure out the audio side of DaVinci a little bit. Like I can add stuff in and I can change volume levels and everything, but I'm struggling to find the more detailed sort of like adding compression, getting rid of white noise, getting rid of noise reduction, all this kind of thing. So something I want to do, because I'm slightly more comfortable with Audacity, is I'm just going to export it into that, do whatever processing, and then bring it back. I think the key thing is going to be for me to somehow mark, like, where does that audio go? Like, how do I get it synced back up to the video? And that's the piece I'm worried about. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take that step just yet. I might dig a little harder to see what DaVinci can do as far as processing audio. Or I'll have to go to YouTube and look up some videos on how to do that, like how to mark the video and the audio and get them to sync up correctly. So something to figure out. I think overall that would help in a big way, but I'm not necessarily going to go head first and pull the audio out. I think I'll struggle to get it put back where it needs to be. So something I'm going to continue to improve on, but that's where my head's at. That's where I'm thinking I should be going. Future Ishar here again. I realized afterwards, as I was recording and editing this video, I sort of figured out a way to do the audio editing that I was wanting to do. I am by no means a professional or anything, so I know extremely basic things. I know I wanted to add some compression to my audio to make sure the volume levels stay relatively consistent. I also wanted to try and tweak the levels to make sure that my voice comes through in sort of a pleasant way, and try and edit out any sort of background noise, that kind of thing. So I wanted to show what I discovered, right or wrong. So when I'm in DaVinci Resolve under Edit, which is where I do pretty well everything, if I opened up the mixer, what I found was for each audio track, you can add equalizer and dynamics. So I went into the equalizer, and I just went up into the presets because I don't know what I'm doing, and selected dialogue male, because that is what this is. So I selected it. That was it. I changed that. It seemed to kind of clean up the voice a little bit. So, okay, that worked. That was a nice step in the right direction. The next piece I did was I double clicked on this DY to open up the dynamics. I don't know what I'm doing here, so I was just playing around. I did see some options up in here. I kind of played with them a little bit, but what I found was dialogue compression seemed to match what I wanted. So I selected that. Then I also added a noise gate and put the threshold to minus 35 dB. And that really helped with reducing some background noise that I was finding. While I was recording, my daughter and wife were, upstairs. They were just talking and whatever, and some of their voices were carrying through down to the basement. So this helped to cut that out, because it just, anything lower than a certain volume just gets removed. And certainly my voice being this close to the microphone and everything else ends up being higher than that volume wise. So these were the settings that I applied. I think the audio came through a lot better this time, so something I will continue to apply to my future videos. So along with the equalizer and dynamics that I just showed you, I realized I forgot to actually show the compression that I added in. So I thought I would record that now and do it live on the clip that I just took and just added. So here it is. You can see this is the clip where I added. I have the webcam track, I have the footage track, grocery store playing in the background. So what I do, again, right or wrong, no idea. If I alt click on equalizer on my audio track, I right click on it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into normalize audio levels. And what I found when I was checking this out was there was a YouTube normalization mode. So I figured that's what this is for. So probably makes the most sense. So I just click on that, and it makes that a dull gray, indicating I believe that there's some editing that's been done to it. It seems to do the same for the video, the darker blue. So that's how I added compression along with those equalizer and dynamics effects. So that was it. That was a long list of things that just I sort of noticed of my own videos, of my first attempts at some YouTube videos, and I thought I'll document them here, not only for you or anyone who might be interested in following along a new, content creator's journey on improving their content, but for myself, frankly, I can look back on this video, in 6 months time and be like, oh, right, I was struggling with that, or oh, wait, I haven't solved that problem yet. Like, let's dive into that. So just something I wanted to do. I think this was part of as much as I want to record my video games and play and whatever else, I think I also just want to document this journey. Like I mentioned in my first video, this is a new skill for me, a new activity to kind of learn about. So you got to document what you're learning, in my opinion. So what better way to do it than make more videos and make more content out of it and practice the same skills. So thanks for checking this out. I hope you enjoy this playlist. I'm going to keep it all in a playlist organized kind of chronologically, so you can sort of follow along the journey if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. But appreciate you tuning in. So hope you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you got one. Otherwise, I hope to see you around again. Ishar out.